Welcome, everyone. Today is June 12th, 2020, and we're here with Tom Ryan and Barbara Engelhardt, his wife. I'm Kevin, Tom's son, and these are some of Tom's collected memories. Today's topic is camping. So, Tom, do you want to tell
Right.
us a little bit about camping?
Well, they always say that the first best three things about being a school teacher are June, July, and August. And of course, the public thinks that teachers get those times off. But I went to school many summers, but we would go camping while I was going to school in Oneonta, New York, learning about economics and how to teach it better. We camped at a state park. And so we combined camping trips, usually a month, before and after the school. And then I would go to school and every day and take the car with me to go to school and leave Maryland with the four kids at the state park with a swimming pool. They always had to have a swimming pool to use. And so our first trailer that we bought only cost $350. And the guy that built it in his garage was a fine craftsman, but he used parts that he had around and he just put it all together, and it was very well built, but it was so heavy that the car wouldn't pull it properly, and the car would get overheated.
Let me show a picture of that right here. There we go. There's a picture,
Yeah.
and it's we called it Bluey, and it's
Right.
made out of wood, right?
Yes, and heavy wood, and had big tires and wheels and steel bars that lifted the bunk beds, and it had an army tent on top of it. I don't know where it got the army tent.
An old army tent, yeah.
And it itself was heavy. So when we went to Yellowstone, it was one of our first trips. We went out with 7 of us. We had Grandma with us too, and so we got out there to Yellowstone, and I'd never driven in the mountains before, so it was I would get the car started going downhill on the mountains. I held the brake down. I didn't know how to drive in the mountains, and you're not supposed to apply the brake any harder than you have to, and not leave it because it gets hot. Well, finally the brakes went out. I'm pulling, this big trailer is pushing me from behind, heavy trailer, and the car's going downhill. I'm thinking it was Sheridan, Wyoming. And we got to the gas station, and I told the guy, I think I need new brakes. These don't work at all. And he said, no, they'll cool off, and then they'll work again in about half an hour. So just wait. I thought it was very honest of him. He could have sold me a new set of brakes. But I learned how to avoid that by how you apply the brake as you drive in the mountains. So there were learning things that had to be accomplished. And we've changed trailers. We finally sold Bluey. I don't know who, somebody else got stuck with it. And we got a bigger trailer, a really fancy one. Grandma helped buy it, and she went along with us. And we go on short trips into, say, Kentucky and Tennessee, and not try to go all the way to Yellowstone and so on. And it was a lot better. The old TVA dams that were built in the Depression always had parks in connection with them, and trailer parks, and we could get water and sewer, and it was really a nice trailer outfit that we had. And we got a newer car that was a 64 Ford station wagon, and Ginger was just about 5 years old in 64, and she would call it the cow with the brown twim, and we'd mock her because she couldn't say the brown car was brown. So that was our car, and the kids could be in the back.
This one.
There it is.
Right?
There it is.
Yeah.
And there's the brown car right there next to it. And she would, we all could get in there, 9 of us, up there on the top. You had bunks up there to sleep, and it was really a fancy one, pretty heavy, but we had a bigger engine in this new car, and it worked out much better. And we went further. We went all the way to Mexico, and enjoyed that trip very much. Learned. I remember Kevin was like 10 years old, and he was amazed that people could speak a different language and understand one another. It was just never had seen that before, and that we couldn't understand what they were saying. So he became a linguist as a result of that exposure to language in Mexico. And
well, I do remember Mom driving the car around the circles, the traffic circles, with the big trailer on the back in the middle of Mexico City. And it was like how crazy that was. Yeah,
yeah, you have big mirrors on the car so you can see the back of the trailer. So but the other cars would get out of our way because we were so big. But the car and the trailer and they called them glorietas in Mexico. We never experienced roundabouts before that, and we sure enjoyed the trip to Mexico. Went all the way to Mexico City, and to the camping all the way, and never went in the hotel. I don't think the whole time, not with 7 of us. And I can remember getting back to the border, and Grandma went with us, but she didn't have her car but she had her car keys in her purse. And our car, I locked the car keys in the car. Here we were, all at the border. They're being inspected and inspected, and I couldn't open the car door. And Grandma says, I said, what are we going to do? We have to break the window or something. She said, here, take my key. And I said, why would your key work on my car? She had a Ford car as well. And we slipped the key in, and it worked just fine. We got in, everything was fine. That amazed me. We found out later that different Ford cars would have the same key. That was not unusual, even though it was a different model and everything. But we got all those scrapes. They came out of it fine. And we had camping in Yellowstone. We didn't know how cold it gets in Yellowstone, even in the summertime. And this was in August, but boy, at night it would get freezing. And Ginger was just a baby. We had 2 kids in diapers on that trip. That was crazy to go. And we had to wash the diapers by putting them in a diaper bucket. And then they would slosh around back there while we were driving. And then when we got there, we dumped the water out and the diapers were ready to be used again after we dried them. It was very crude. And we had to buy clothing in Yellowstone because we were so cold at night, extra clothing, blankets. But we did get there, and we saw the bears, and that was an experience. I'd never been in mountains before. So this camping continued.
Sorry, we're about at 20 minutes here. And I think this is a good place to stop, and then we can continue with a new episode. We've now completed the first trailer, the Bluey, and the second trailer, which was the big Layton, the full size. And now for the next episode, we can get into the Scamper, which was the pull-up one. And that's the one we use most for traveling, right?
Yeah, that was the best one. And,
so, with that, we'll finish off today and continue on another episode very soon.
Good.
Okay.
Thanks.